this is crazy. So in the fall, like around September, we went on an RV trip, and we rented an RV from this place right down here. And I saw this smoke this morning, trying to figure out what it was, and it's the entire RV place burning down. Every single one of those RVs is burning to the ground. I can't believe it. Yeah, look at that, eh? That is a lot of debris down there. Man, oh man.
So, was there more people further up?
This was our only way out. We're here at Carolyn Mines exit. This is the Bailey Bridge for the pipeline.
So not a Bailey Bridge.
There's a bridge over there, that's out.
There's the new street lamp.
There's a new street lamp there.
Yeah.
So, yeah, where did that come from? This is nuts. So yeah, this is the only way out. We're gonna go across there, cross the highway, and then take a service road that will take us most of the way back to civilization. But this is what we got now. So now we got to reassess the situation and come up with some other ideas.
There's just no way out.
Guys.
Wow, it's amazing the power of Mother Nature.
Yeah, I was actually just thinking the same thing.
Welcome to Bourbon Street. It's great to have you back, Vanessa, but I cut you off there. So yeah, the BC floods are terrifying.
They are, and you know what? My brother actually lives in BC. He lives in Vernon, and he's definitely impacted by everything that's going on. And so, he's not in a major flooding area, but he's impacted by obviously the supply shortage. He's on pasta and pasta sauce. He can't get milk. He can't get vegetables. Nothing. It's scary. It's really scary.
How are they reaching him? Is he talking to the RCP or the Red Cross, or is there some sort of formal outreach, or are they kind of on their own?
No, they're basically on their own right now.
Yeah.
I mean, they're not. He's not feeling a massive impact at the moment, but it's not getting better, as we can see. The Coquihalla is not going to be fixed for another couple of months. They're saying, but there are other ways. It just takes a lot longer to get into the Okanagan Valley.
Sometimes I feel a little bit naive when you see tsunamis in Asia or floods, say in Texas or Louisiana, but obviously it hits close to home when people live close to it. Not that BC's that close, but just think you're out there driving along, living in Vernon, going to your place in Kelowna, heading out to Chilliwack, and kaboom. So my heart goes out to those who obviously lost loved ones, the rescue operation. Seeing those cows.
No, it's terrifying.
So if you're out there and you're thinking about helping, I'm sure organizations like the Red Cross are all over this. So so we've got lots to cover, and our hearts go out to the folks out west. So we're going to tee up a really interesting segment on Weekly Pulse with a little video on education.
Recording in progress.
It's changed my life in a way where I find that it gave me more confidence, and it allows me to communicate more to people in general.
It lets me be me.
The way they teach drives a special bond between teacher and student that I feel no other school can really create.
If you know that you really want the best for your kid, is to invest in Park Street.
I've had a chance to meet Oric a couple of times, along with my fellow colleagues, and he's going to be Prime Minister one day. So I know there's a lot going on for Giving Tuesday. So unabashed pitch to support Park Street every time we have a full paying student come to the school. We provide a scholarship to a little from Big Brothers Big Sisters. So there you have it, unabashed pitch. But I know today you're going to talk about something that's near and dear to both our hearts, which is kind of what's going on with consumers and their engagement and connection with not-for-profits. So I'm looking forward to the excerpt, as it's dutifully noted. so does that mean I'm not good enough to get the full presentation?
Yeah, well, the full presentation is about 30 minutes long, so I'm happy to give it to you.
Okay.
But it's an excerpt because it's an excerpt from a presentation that we did that Laura Janes from IMI presented last week, and we have the presentation, we have all the content, but this is an excerpt for today.
I can't even say the word, you know. I thought maybe this was like the way you used to get rid of your boyfriends in grade 10 or something, like, you know, like pass them like, you're now an excerpt.
No, there are other ways.
He's walking around the high school stunned. What did she call me? Anyway, I digress. It's your presentation. Go for it.
Oh, that's so amazing. That's a story for another time, actually, how I used to get rid of my boyfriend.
We've only got half an hour.
Oh my goodness. Okay, so this is a quiz. Last time you're like, you have to tell me if it's a quiz. So this is a quiz.
All right.
What percentage of Canadians believe that cause is important to support?
81%. 81. 93.
93%.
That's good to hear.
That's fantastic to hear. But on the flip side, there are gaps in behavior. So while 93% of Canadians believe it's important to support causes, only 45% actually are doing something about it. So easy to say that it's important, but not as many people are doing. But still, 45% it's a good number, but it's not 93. Okay. So what do you think the biggest way to engage with charities is? What is that 54% that you see there?
I'm torn between volunteering and donating, so I'm going to go with volunteering.
Ooh, well, you're right and you're wrong. So you're wrong. You're wrong in the way that
I'm just wrong. There's no right and wrong.
No, there's a right. You'll see.
Okay.
So yes, 54% of Canadians donated money. So in the last 2 years, more Canadians have engaged with a charity through simple donation than anything else. And let me give you like some little tips as well, because we're all looking to help the not-for-profits that we care about. Mm-hmm. So on the next slide, how do you maximize your donations? So even the little thing, like placing the higher amount first, maximizes your potential. There's an 18% lift when you put the higher amount of an option first and then the lower amount last versus the other way around. So biggest way to donate, here's how you can maximize your donations. So then now let's look at what generation donates most. And this is where you're right and you're wrong in your last answer. So now rank from 1 to 4.
In terms of donating?
Yes. Which generation donates most?
No, I'm going to get this wrong. I'm going to make it easy. I'm just going to go boomers, Gen X, millennials, Gen Z.
Oh my God. You win the prize.
No, darn. Look at that. But you kind of made it a little too easy. I think if you were applying for a job at, Scotiabank Arena to run that shell game, they'd be like, no, Vanessa, you can't give them the answer. You got to mix it up a little first, okay? I'm just saying, if things don't work out at IMI, don't be going down to Scotiabank trying to do the shell game.
I'll definitely keep that in mind.
I hear it pays well.
Yes, I hear it does too.
Yeah.
So you're right. So it goes boomers to Gen X to millennials to Gen Z. And I don't think that's surprising given, as you grow in your career, you grow in your earnings, you grow in what you actually have as income. You're more likely to donate more.
Yeah.
But were you going to say something?
Nope. Well, I was just, you know me, I'm always saying something. But keep going.
Okay. So, but the fact is, even though Gen Zs are the lowest in terms of donations, don't discount them. Because even though they're not donating money right now per se, they're more likely to recommend and talk about, follow, volunteer their time, fundraise, attend events and whatnot versus the other generations. And then what we know as well is that as you move from like different parts of your life stage, your donations actually double. So right now, from Gen Z to millennials, the donation amount actually doubles.
At each and every step? So each time you go up a step?
Not each time you go up a step, from when you go from Gen Z to millennial.
Okay.
And then it does increase, but it's not duplicate.
Gotcha.
But so with this, it's really important that you engage the Gen Zs now, because as they get into that time of their life where they are donating more, once you engage them, once they're connected to you, they're likely to donate. So that's why don't discount them. They're active with charities, and then they'll donate more in the future.
I love this chart, because if you built a simple event marketing plan off this chart, you would say, utilize the Gen Zs because they're going to participate. They're going to talk about it. They're going to volunteer. They can hit up the boomers for you and get the money.
Exactly.
Right? And I would say that for people like me, and I'm a boomer and you're somewhere as a late millennial, early Gen X, maybe. I have, not that I have tons of money, but I have no time. Right?
Yes.
And the Gen Zs don't have the money, but they've got the time, they've got the passion, and they like to talk, right? They share on social.
Exactly. And the passion, they are more connected to cause.
Right.
They are more connected to purpose than ever before. So absolutely.
I think every NFP in the country should have this slide. Keep going.
It's a great one, isn't it? Okay. So that's for charities. But then for brands, so brands looking to partner with charities, brands looking to sell their brands, obviously, to the purchasers that they care about, the impact of brands sponsoring a charity event or aligning with charity is huge for your brand. So 50% net increase in brand consideration, 75% more favorable towards partnering with the brand, and 85% feel better towards employer that's supported. So what we say to brands and to businesses and organizations is use what you have as a not-for-profit, go into the organizations, because what you have that's special is you can engage employees. And those people that aren't necessarily doing anything, they want to do something. And when their employer makes it easy to engage with a charity or not-for-profit, they will. And it makes them feel better towards the employer. So really, you're growing from the inside out.
This is what, with all respect to the not-for-profits that are watching, this is why I implore you, stop writing sponsorship decks. So you got your deck and on it says, sponsor our event. Why not write a deck and a pitch that says, I've got an employee engagement program? Then you get into different doors. You get into the people and culture, the HR teams, you get into corporate roles, but everybody puts sponsorship. As soon as you put the S word, or partnership, because we all do partnerships, can tell my sarcasm around that word. You get funneled into a very narrow, one channel, one decision maker. I'm overemphasizing that channel of potential funding sources at a company. Take this, make it employee engagement.
So what I learned, because I've also worked on the not-for-profit. So I've worked on the brand side, I've worked on the agency side, I've worked on the not-for-profit, and now I'm on the insight side. What I learned working on the not-for-profit side is when you put employee engagement as part of your plan, you become sticky to that corporation. You become sticky in that brand. It's really hard for them to go away from you. And think about, as a Walmart, for instance, the amount of employees that you have, or an Amazon. If you can engage all those employees, you're really, literally, those are your consumers as well. And you're really growing from the inside out as a business. So it's beneficial on both sides. Love it.
Stickier than my beard.
Is that a fake beard? Is that what you're saying?
Might be. We'll find out on the next slide.
Okay, so this is just my final slide. So supporting charities, it's important to people, but we need more doers and less sayers. As a charity, donations are the biggest. Make sure that you provide the ability to donate from your organization, because that'd be a mess if you didn't. And look at how to engage Gen Z now, because they're your future pipeline, and that's what we just talked about. And as individuals and businesses, what are you doing to give back?
Love it. Alrighty, well, we're going to switch gears here and go to sponsorship backs on Bourbon Street, although maybe it should have been sponsorship backs on Abbot Kinney because I was lucky enough to be in LA last week. So SoFi Stadium, you talk about partnership. I was lucky enough to be in the States last weekend, saw my beloved USC Trojans get destroyed by the UCLA Bruins. But, that pageantry of college football, of tailgating, of pretending that, you're a 19-year-old fresh person on campus. Really interesting, that dynamic of alumni and support is there. But I got to tell you, it's really interesting to see what's going on in LA. This SoFi Stadium is literally, I said to somebody, if the Coliseum in Rome and the best St. Regis hotel in the world had a baby, it would be SoFi Stadium. Just an incredible venue. We were at a Chargers game, obviously. They beat my Steelers. With a flick of the switch, they can change the branding on that stadium from the Rams, who are the owners of the stadium, and locals who love the Chargers call them the Ram Lords, to San Diego, to the ex-San Diego Chargers, now the LA Chargers. Fun fact, I'm at the game. Steelers are visitors. According to StubHub, 68% of the fans at that game were actually Steelers fans. So there you go. So any questions about my hairline or why I'm not wearing a hat? I suddenly noticed I'm the only guy not wearing a hat in the picture.
I don't think I've ever seen you with a hat, actually.
I do not. I don't look good at hats. So anyway, you can find more about it on my social media. But talking about social media, Lush came out with a pretty bold announcement this week. So let's have a look at the video, and then I know you love Lush, so I want to hear your thoughts.
Lush is one of the most colorful and glittery brands out there, known for its bath bombs and cruelty-free soaps. A fixture on Instagram, TikTok, and Facebook, where they boast more than 5 million combined followers. But now the cosmetics brand is pulling the plug on social media completely. Lush's chief digital officer saying in a statement, "As an inventor of bath bombs, I pour all my efforts into creating products that help people switch off, relax, and pay attention to their well-being." Social media platforms have become the antithesis of this aim, with algorithms designed to keep people scrolling and stop them from switching off and relaxing. The company adding they feel especially resolved to tackle the issue in light of recent testimony from social media whistleblowers.
The choices being made inside of Facebook are disastrous for our children, for our public safety, for our privacy, and for our democracy. And that is why we must demand Facebook make changes.
Lush says they'll sign out from Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, and Snapchat until these platforms can provide a safer environment for their users. The changes going into effect on Black Friday, a day when retailers typically kick their social media presence into high gear to attract holiday shoppers. Offline, however, Lush planning to invest in more physical events, community activations, and you might even see those good old-fashioned paper catalogs back in your mailbox. Remember those?
That's a pretty bold statement, but as experiential marketer, I gotta say I'm happy.
Yeah, you know what? They're definitely looking at their insights. So one, I don't know how social media can actually change completely so that they're not doing what they've been doing. I don't know how believable that is. We have to see how it all nets out. I love that people are coming forth with, the dangers of social media. And isn't it amazing that a big brand like Lush is now taking a stand, because that's what you need. You need brands to come off of these platforms so that we're not on them all the time. But the thing is, they're also looking at their insights, Mark. Like you don't drive purchase through social media. You drive purchase through like good old TVCs. You drive purchase through recommendations, through consumer reviews, through people that actually experience the product. And that's where you see those like events and experiential coming in. That's why people purchase. People don't purchase because they see it on social media.
No, absolutely. While they can quit social media, their best customers don't have to. And if they want to put up their own reviews, then they'll still get that social media piece.
Exactly.
So jumping from social media to gaming, and I am not a gamer, but I got to tell you, when I saw this, and I'm like you, very, very much a pro-vaccine person. What Grand Theft Auto is doing in Brazil with the vaccine is amazing. I mean, isn't this genius? Actually providing longer life, more immortality to players when they get vaccinated at the virtual vaccine station?
It's absolutely incredible. And they have 6 million viewers daily. That was a wild number to me. So consider the impact. They're actually making getting vaccinated cool.
So it's interesting, your earlier comment about social media. Social media is not going to change until companies change. I think this is a great example where, I'm not going to get political here, but we know that countries like Brazil have had kind of bizarre responses to the pandemic. So this is a case of a big brand, a big company jumping in and changing. So now we're going to jump back to LA, because I got to tell you, it was kind of interesting hearing everywhere I went in LA, people were freaking out about the Staples Center new name.
What did you say, the Crib Arena? Oh, I didn't know what you said. My bad. They said the Crib Arena. Hey, man, listen.
What do you think about that? I thought it was a joke at first.
I think it's the stupidest name change.
It felt good, Staples Center. Now it feels weird.
Change is not always easy, but for those who easily adapt, replacing the name Staples Center with Crypto.com Arena is simply a sign of the times.
Everything has its run. It's been 20 years for Staples, and more than anything, the numbers are mind-blowing. What was it, 700 million?
That's right, $700 million is what Crypto.com paid for the right to change the name. It's the largest naming rights deal in history.
Crypto.com Arena. That doesn't even really flow right. I think that's going to be the arena that Kobe built, or Staples Center. But they paid a lot of money to get that name on there. So $700 million for a 20-year partnership. It's about $35 million a year, $2.9 million a month, almost $750K a week, $100K a day for 20 years.
Now you got to pay to play, man.
Okay, so I have a quick question for this one. 720 million. Will the arena take cryptocurrency? Yes or no?
Oh, well, it would have to.
They are not.
They are not.
They are not. So I find that the most flabbergasting part of this deal, 720 million bucks, they're not taking it. So I got to tell you though, everywhere, Los Angeles or whatever they're called, are not happy about this. But you know what? Everything in life has some change. So I have a quick question for you. We're going to talk a little bit about Taylor Swift. Do you remember when we were all in Nashville for the NFL draft, and who was being interviewed at the next little suite next to us?
She was right there, and she was like, "Oh, I can actually still picture exactly what she was wearing. It was fantastic."
So she's re-released her own music, and a lot of brands have jumped on about Red. But I mean, can you just read for the audience the Sour Patch Kids social post? I don't know if you have it. If you could, I'll read it. Good morning to everyone except Jake Gyllenhaal.
Yes.
Actually, where is he? I just want to talk.
Yes.
A lot of brands are jumping on board. Give me a quick thought around when brands jump into something that's social currency. They're not necessarily sponsoring Taylor Swift. What are your thoughts on this?
Oh, I think it's great. I think it starts the conversation. It continues the conversations. It makes you relevant to what's going on right now. I just want to say, in terms of the whole Taylor Swift thing, you can never underestimate the power of the person that created something in the first place. Right. And so her coming back and re-recording in her style, good for her. What an incredibly powerful woman.
Absolutely, and I think she's giving musicians around the world hope. So
yeah.
To close things out on a bit of a somber note, we're going to talk about Ahmaud Arbery, but first I want to share, it's a couple months old, but Procter & Gamble is doing some amazing work in content and film, and they released this Black Boys film recently. So let's have a look at the trailer, and let's talk a little bit about a couple of interesting court cases in the U.S. this week.
They are often reduced to just being a body, seen as something that could be easily discarded. They're just asking for dignity, which you would think all of us would want.
James Baldwin said to be a Negro in this country and to be relatively conscious means that you are enraged almost all the time.
You realize you live in a world where your humanity is constantly being questioned.
This country needs to put the mirror up.
We're angry because of the notion that we love our community. We love our black boys and our black girls.
These young people don't need saviors. They need believers.
We're passing this stuff on from generation to generation.
We're better than what black people and black males are experiencing. We are better than that.
You know, Vanessa, we're going to talk a little bit about Arbery, and every day since May of 2020, you know, people have talked about why did the George Floyd thing so captivate us? And I think it was a bunch of things. We're at home, we're feeling in pain, that captured the video, that awful look on the policeman's face. But love your thoughts on the Arbery ruling this week.
Oh my God, I was so happy. I couldn't imagine if they actually got off, and I think it was really, really important that that they didn't, and it's a really important message because the entire thing is ridiculous. Self-defense. How can you say it's self-defense when you actually have a weapon with you? How can you say you're acting in self-defense? It's so thank goodness that they made that ruling. I mean, with the Kyle Rittenhouse, I would say that, you know, I don't agree with the ruling on that one. And it should have gone in the same way as this one did. Well,
You know, it never ceases to amaze me. I think of Ahmaud Arbery as a lynching in the same vein as Emmett Till, taken to a barn by 3 white men and tortured. In this case, he was hunted down, assaulted, and shot. And, you know, the most bizarre part about this is if one of the perpetrators hadn't videoed it, made a glory film, it would be 3 white men walking free and yet another dead black man. So
yeah, I don't know how people like that can live with themselves, to be perfectly honest. It's so backwards to me.
I don't know either. Thank you for joining me on Bourbon Street, and we're going to close things out with a reaction from the verdict.
Thanks, Mark.
And he never yelled at you guys?
No, ma'am.
Never threatened you at all?
No, ma'am. Yeah, he did not threaten me verbally. No, ma'am.
Didn't brandish any weapons?
No, ma'am.
Didn't pull out any guns?
No, ma'am.
Didn't pull out any knife?
No, ma'am.
Never reached for anything, did he?
No.
He just ran?
Yes, he was just running.
In the Superior Court of Glenn County, State of Georgia, the State of Georgia versus Travis McMichael, case number CR 000433. Jury verdict form. Count 1, malice murder. We, the jury, find the defendant, Travis McMichael, guilty. I'm going to ask that whoever just made an outburst be removed from the court, please.
That lynch mob. Yes. We got that lynch mob. This history today. Letting you know that black kid life does matter. That's right. For real, all life matters. All life. Yes. Not just black children. We don't want to see nobody go through this. Amen. I don't want to see no daddy watch their kid get lynched and shot down like that. That's right, Mom. So it's all our problem. It's all our problem. Yeah. So, hey, let's keep fighting. Amen. Let's keep doing it and making this place a better place for all human beings. Amen. All human beings. Amen. Everybody.